Hey everyone, welcome back to BrowncoatNerd. Yes, we have yet another LEO trade-in Smith & Wesson M&P. Pointy, not sharp. I'm blaming this one on you again. I had purchased an M&P Israeli surplus 9C a while back. Kind of used as a winter pocket carry. Was really happy with it. That was my first M&P, and then I picked up an M&P 9 full size that was a police turn-in, unmarked. And I was kind of like, dang, these just feel really nice. And then Pointy Not Sharp commented if he lived in the U.S., he's Australian, that he'd be getting every police marked turn-in that he could get. So then that led me to get the Massachusetts State Police marked M&P 45. And now we have the M&P 40, that is California State Parks Police. And we got the little California bear there. Also have a little cage code tag on the top. So I picked this up from AIM Surplus July 3rd of 2025 for $250. I checked their website today as of me filming this video, which is late July of 2025, and it is still available. It is item number F1SWMP40PDMK. Now, like I said, this is a 40 Smith & Wesson. It's 15 plus 1 rounds. One of the things I found interesting is the mag it came with. You know, a little worn, that is to be expected. But it actually has the serial number etched into the back of the mag. And 3. I know a lot of times the police little packaged M&Ps would come with 3 mags. So I'm assuming this is the 3rd mag. Unfortunately, I did not come with mag 1 and 2. It just came with the 1 mag. No case. Once again, it's just a random back strap, which this time I got the small back strap. I do typically prefer the medium. However, I noticed on my 45, with it being a slightly wider or longer grip, I thought the small back strap would actually feel better, and I was like, eventually I'll get one used. And, well, I lucked out. I don't have to buy one, so I'm just going to swap the small back strap on this with the medium back strap on the M&P 45, but I wanted to show you guys how it came. Now, this is probably the most worn finish out of all of my M&Ps, which, that being said, is not really that bad. We've got quite a bit up here, and then on the sharp corners, quite a bit's taken off up front, but really not bad. Me saying it's the worst one, I'm not saying it's beat up. I've gotten really lucky. Here's the full-size 9. Pretty clean. My 9C, which is not out here, that was very clean. And then, of course, that 45 I showed you. Of course, it has some marks up there as well. But I feel I've gotten pretty lucky with these. And, of course, I always forget to show you guys, we are working with a empty gun. So a little bit worn. More than the others I've gotten. Also, the finish, it's not going to really show up, and I feel like it's gotten a little bit better. When I first got this was a very matte, kind of gray-looking finish, and compared to my other M&Ps, they're almost a semi-gloss or glossy black. So I use the these little barricade wipes. I'm not saying it's the best product in the world, it's just what I use. Typically, I run that over a slide or an old surplus gun I get. If it kind of has that phosphate-type finish and it's a little bit dry, that kind of brings a lot of life back into it. I clean this guy up about 3 or 4 times with those rags. I'd wipe it down, get it really wet, and then I'd just let it sit for like a day or 2. And then wipe it down with a dry cloth. And repeat. And this is the 3rd or 4th application. Finally, I've gotten it where it's kind of more of a matching color. It's hard to tell on camera too. And it is much better now. But I thought that was interesting. It was so different. I was actually wondering if maybe this one, for some reason, had a different finish on it. And looking around, I really can't see them offering any other finish other than this kind of melanite finish. I think they've got their own special, little Smith & Wesson name for it. And I have seen them offer just in the bare stainless steel. But, yeah, so I think this slide, and I have, looking at some videos too, I came across a few, and I think they were all 40, which kind of made me wonder if there's some kind of trend with that have these slightly flatter looking finish. But once again, it's kind of hard to tell on camera what's actually, matte sometimes and what's not. But like I said, we've got the California State Police bear and the little California bear there, which I thought was pretty cool. And this is a metal tag. It's not like plastic or paper. I'm pretty sure that is metal. And it's on there pretty securely. So that was one thing I was kind of concerned about if I got something like that. You know, I don't mind having like an additional sticker, but I don't want something I have to like be cautious about when I'm cleaning the gun. You know, where it's going to be taken off and leave sticky residue. But this one seems very solid attached, so happy with that. Kind of adds another little extra cool factor and uniqueness along with the marking on the slide up here. Now this is one of the later 1.0s. We got a little QR code on the serial number. The earlier ones do not, like my 45 here, no QR code. Which is kind of interesting that they still have that one up top. It's probably because they had some of the earlier ones that didn't have that code, or for whatever reason, just their policy is to, you know, have that little QR code up top. But yeah, that is on there. It did come with night sights, which was a pretty nice little surprise. We'll see how dark we can get it in here. It did not mention that in the listing. And once again, it's not quite dark enough in here, but you can see them glowing, and these have a decent amount of life left in them. I was pretty happy with that. I've been scoring pretty good on the night sights with my police turn-in M&Ps. The only one that doesn't have it is the 9C, and then the full-size 9. The front night sight's just like completely done. The rears are still a little bit alive. But anyways, one of the nice things about specifically the 40 caliber M&P, if you're kind of looking for just one gun, you're like on a budget, getting one of these, the price is very cheap. They're easy to find because all the departments are getting rid of their 40s. And the nice thing about it being 40, it's kind of, I don't know if I'd say it can cover multiple roles, but you got some flexibility with it. So if you want to have different calibers, you could get a 357 SIG barrel for this, and all you got to do is change the barrel. You don't need to change the recoil spring, you don't need to change the magazine, all of that's the same. However, 357 SIG is pretty expensive, especially compared to 40 Smith & Wesson these days. Another thing you can do is get a 9mm barrel. Now I've seen people get a stock 9mm barrel and put these in here. There is a little bit of play, but there's plenty of videos on YouTube of people not apparently having any issue with that, and the accuracy seems to be decent. And I've even seen them run it with the 40 recoil spring. If I were to do that, there is a company that does make a conversion barrel specifically for this, so it doesn't have that extra play, a little bit tighter lockup. And I probably would go ahead and just get a 9mm recoil spring assembly as well. But looking for like a budget-friendly gun, these guns are cheap if you're getting one used. 40 is fairly cheap, especially if you're finding, like Aim Surplus is offering a lot of police turn-in ammunition. Boxes of ammo they no longer need because they no longer are running the 40s. Also, I believe after they've had ammunition for so many years, they do rotate that out. So you can find 40, especially hollow points, for really good prices. And then you have the option of, you know, running 9mm, which isn't too bad. And then you have the option of 357 SIG, which is pretty awful. Not caliber-wise, but price-wise. But I do like that flexibility. So I think this might be an additional, have an additional appeal to it other than just being a police turn-in. You've got a lot of stuff you can do that. And really that does go for pretty much any 40 chambered firearm out there. You can switch between those three calibers. But I did want to point that out. I was not looking to get a 40 caliber handgun. But when I saw these, and after getting the Mass State Police one, I was really happy to get a U.S. marked police gun in my collection. And I'm like, I've already got the full-size 9, frack it. Might as well dive in head first. So I got the 40 caliber one. One of the things I found interesting is this does not have the magazine disconnect safety. So you can fire this gun with the magazine removed. And I didn't really look this up, but I'm under the impression in California that is one of the requirements of their handgun. So I thought that was interesting. I don't know if maybe this was in the department before that became a law, perhaps, or if the department is just not required to follow those rules. And I did read up too on that option of the magazine disconnect safety. These Smiths can come with or without it. According to a book I was reading, that was offered specifically to the police department. So I don't know if you're buying an old used one that was not from a police department, if you're guaranteed not to have that mag disconnect safety. But that is one thing to keep in mind if you're buying one of these LE trade-ins and that's something you're really particular about. Definitely be aware if your model came with that mag disconnect safety, because there's a good chance if you're buying an old police M&P, it's going to have it. From what I've seen, that seems to be more often than not, it comes with that mag disconnect safety. Once again, I have gotten lucky with all of mine because none of them have that mag disconnect safety, and that is how I would prefer to have it. So that was pretty nice discovering that. Got something on there, not sure what that is. Overall, the gun's in pretty good shape, even the frame. This is new, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, once again, just really happy with this. And I think Pointy Not Sharp has created a new addiction for me, is just getting all these police marked LE trade-ins. Trigger pull. Where is Lyman? I can't remember off the top of my head the trigger weights of the other M&Ps, but I feel like for the most part they've been pretty good. The 45 is a decent trigger, but the reset on that is non-existent, so that kind of sucks. So, ouch. Let's see what we got here. Do an average of 5, like usual. So far, pretty nice. Okay, I bogarted that one, and you can see it's quite a bit heavier. I think I was riding the trigger a little high. We'll just leave it in there. It's pretty consistent, just below 6 pounds. Other than that mucked up pull I had. So, well, we'll do one more. Kind of even it out since I'm pretty sure I screwed up that one. So, average of 5 pounds, 12.9 ounces. And realistically, as you saw, they're probably a little less than that. Fair amount of take-up. Feels clean. I mean, it's a little squishy as much as these M&P triggers will. That was a little funky. We've got a good reset. I am happy that it has a reset. And yeah, it's not bad at all, actually. And honestly, I mean, that feels lighter than 5 pounds. So, very happy with that. Also, if you're picking one of these up, it is worth mentioning that when I got mine, shortly afterwards, I noticed that AIM was selling used M&P 40 mags for like $10. So I was like, okay, I'm going to get me one of those. But then I was like, well, let me look around. So I've got several M&Ps now. Might get some more mags. And they had a sale on the brand new M&P 40 mags for $15. So I was like, okay, I'm going to pay an extra $5 and go ahead and get one that's brand new. So just be aware of that. I feel like the extra $5 was definitely worth it to get a new one. Overall, would I recommend this? Absolutely. Even for someone that's like not collecting police or military surplus, this is a great all-around gun. It's striker fire, So it's going to be good for everyone. I know some people prefer double action, single action, myself included. But if this is going to be your only gun, it's going to be a nightstand gun, possibly something you would carry. Little big for me to carry, but I think striker fire is definitely the way to go. You've got a rail so you can put a light on there. Excuse me, a little gassy. You got a good chance of getting some decent night sights on it out of the box like I did. And then again, that modularity with the different calibers that you can switch to. I think this is a great little package. One last thing, let's check out the weight. Since I have a couple to compare it to. There we go, we'll do it without the mag. So, the 40 caliber with no mag comes in at, can't read it from the glare, 1 pound, 8.9 ounces. The 45 full size, and this is the 4.5 inch barrel, not the 5 inch barrel. A lot of these have the longer barrel. Once again, no mag. 1 pound, 8.9 ounces. Whoops. And then we got the 9 full size with no mag. That comes in at 1 pound, 8.5 ounces. So real quick, while I have them out here, let's do a little more of a realistic weight comparison, and we will include a fully loaded mag. That brings the 9 up to 2 pounds, 3.1 ounces. Our 45 with a fully loaded mag. I also picked up a used mag from AIM Surplus. 2 pounds, 2.9 ounces. And then last but not least, the 40 with a fully loaded mag, my brand new one I got from AIM. 2 pounds, 3.7 ounces. So like I was saying before, would I recommend this? Absolutely. Even for the non-collector, for the price you're paying, I think this is a really good deal. Where's my empty mag? And even if you're not a collector, in my opinion, you know, okay, some bonus points for having the cool markings of the California State Police. I think that's kind of neat. Maybe some people don't want that on there. There are plenty of these out there that do not have these markings. Whoops. And actually, I think AIM's got some without any markings that are in 40 caliber that were like, I think they're $230, so $20 less. Not much less, but a little bit. And that's still, I think, you know, $250 is a killer deal for this. $230 is even better, especially if you don't care about the markings. But that's all I've got for you. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider liking and subscribing. Don't forget to check me out on Rumble as well as Instagram. Also, don't forget to check out Pointy But Not Sharp. If you're curious about bayonets at all, it's an awesome channel to find on YouTube. And he's also on Instagram as well. Alright guys, that is it. That's all I've got for you today. Stay safe, stay shiny.